Hey, Joe Soto here, and now I want to speak to you about what we call the secret formula for pricing. Now, let me ask you a question. What's the most important factor that determines your profitability in business? Answer, the fee that you charge for your consulting services. Now, most consultants, most digital marketing agency owners that I speak to need to raise their fees. Most of the time, our self-worth gets in the way. We have stories that we believe that we can't charge, a certain amount, or maybe you just lack the experience to realize what businesses and clients, what prospects, what entrepreneurs and companies that you're going to be talking to, what they're actually really spending on sales and marketing and advertising. It's a lot of money. I know businesses that are spending tens of thousands of dollars and sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars per month on advertising. I met with an HVAC company as one of our last clients. That was an HVAC company. They were spending $10 million per year on marketing alone. Huge company, huge fleet. Another smaller HVAC company I talked to that wasn't even doing $10 million a year in total sales was still spending $250,000 per year on local television advertising alone. I talk to businesses that are doing $1 to $3, $4 million a year, and they're spending literally $5,000 to $10,000 per month on things like billboards, radio advertising, and so on. You have to get familiar with what businesses are already spending, and the way to do that is by asking them, what are you currently spending on marketing, and how much did that cost you last month? And tell me about a big advertising program you guys recently ventured into, and how did it work for you guys? Now, and when they tell me that, I say, what did you spend on that roughly? When you say words like roughly or ballpark, they're more likely to answer you. So I'll say things like, roughly, what did you spend on that advertising campaign? Or, if you have to remember just ballpark, what is it that you think you spent on that campaign overall? And then that loosens them up a little bit and they answer you. And why is that important for you to ask questions like that? Because you want to be able to understand if they're used to spending money on marketing, on advertising, and what kind of budget they have. And would they be willing to spend some money getting your help if you could help them reduce their overall marketing costs for the year? The answer is of course. That's where you can come in. But the secret formula for pricing typically is a concept that can change your business and your life if you just understand it, okay? Now, a few things before we talk about like what type of fees and ranges you could possibly charge for different size clients, and I'll talk about that. But before I share that, I want to share with you why you don't want to sell at too low of a fee ever, okay? And also why you want to be careful about selling to what I call price buyers, okay? If you have somebody who's just concerned about your fee and just concerned about the price, you either got to figure out how to turn them around or avoid them at all costs. And here's why I typically avoid price buyers, okay? Number one is they'll eat up a lot of your time. They're sometimes the highest maintenance clients. I have found that price buyers directly correlates with size of clients. So a client that's under $1 million a year in sales, for example, like a small salon or a small restaurant, or a restaurant that has like 100 seats in it probably isn't going to be doing more than $1 million per year. It tends to be an owner who's very involved in the business, and ultimately they can become very high maintenance. So go for the little bit larger clients. Why not? I talk about the sweet spot being really around 3 million or more. The real sweet spot's like $3 to $10 million because they don't have usually big enough marketing teams to be able to execute on all the strategies that you could bring to the table or help them outsource or leverage. But they have budgets and are spending a lot of money on advertising and marketing. If they're around the $1 to $3 million range, also pretty good fit, but you're going to have to either deliver services for them or find somebody, a business that can come through and deliver and execute on the strategy and the consulting that you give them. But secret formula, so price buyers, they complain the most. They absolutely complain the most. And the reason why is they're never really happy because their expectations are very high and they're typically unrealistic. And they tend to think that they should be getting more than what they're actually paying for. So be careful with those people. Just referring to some notes, I'm going to make sure you have a handout on this as well. It ends up creating a very lose-lose situation I wrote. So price buyers seem to be also the ones that don't pay on time, right? They may not be the ones that pay on time. When it's all about money to them, they tend to rob Peter to pay Paul, or they may put off you as a bill or an invoice. That's why I always take money up front and I charge them upfront for my services. If somebody wants me to come in for a one-day strategy session and it's $5,000 to $10,000, or even if it's a $500 1-hour consulting session, I'm going to invoice them up front and tell them I'm paid in advance for my services. That's not unusual for professional service firms, by the way, and it's not going to be unusual to them to hear you say that. Keep that in mind. Another thing you want to be careful of, number 4, that price buyers are loyal to price, not to you. So, the moment someone else comes in and offers something for less than what you have offered, or they offer services or retainer base or margins that are lower than yours, or fees are lower than yours, they'll move on from you because it's not about you, it's about your fees. The worst part of all is that they're never going to be good referral partners. And if they do refer people to you, they often will tell them they got a good deal to work with you, or they negotiated with you and you went down your fee. And so they'll spread the word about getting a good deal with you, and it doesn't help you at all for them to ever have been your client. So I want to encourage you not to play games that you can't win with your clients, okay? Different fee levels will attract different types of clients. Keep that in mind. People willing to pay a premium fee for your services have a different set of expectations than someone who pays a much cheaper fee. And I find that my larger clients that pay me a higher fee per month, they're easier to deal with. They don't have unrealistic expectations. They are fine with giving it a few months to be able to see stuff come to fruition. And also, it's much easier to service, 5 or 10 clients than it is 50 low-paying ones. Keep that in mind. Premium services are always worth the investment if your clients feel they receive good value for the money. So keep that in mind. And consulting and advice, trusted advisor advice, okay, is worth something that's good to the business and important to the company, and the people that you meet with will understand that. Like I've said in a couple of lessons, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. If you know just a little bit more, and you definitely know it a little bit more than your potential client prospects know about marketing, or about digital marketing services, or about email marketing, or about text marketing, or about Facebook retargeting, or about YouTube retargeting, or about SEO, or about video and Facebook Live and so forth, and how that can work for businesses. If you know just a little bit of that stuff, your client will find you valuable. Do not underestimate your ability to charge for that advice, okay? I have no problem giving a little bit of advice up front and saying, listen, I would love to talk about and arrange an opportunity to come into your guys' company, spend an hour or two, or even a day, if it makes sense for your team and you, to really build a strategy and a roadmap for your team to get on the right track on. And if you are interested in something like that, and you believe and are confident that not only is that going to help you increase your revenue long term, but it can give you some immediate wins right out of the gate after our one-day meeting. If you'd like to see what that would look like, I would love to put together that on paper and give you a couple fee options depending on how much time we want to spend together. Would that be fair? Would you like to see that? Would you be open-minded to that? And you know what the client says? They say, yeah, sure. Okay, now you have an opportunity to pitch and promote and propose to them. And I would encourage that you schedule a time with them and propose your services and your fee over the phone or in person. One of the worst things you can do is email a proposal to a potential client. I did a YouTube video on this. If you go to youtube.com/Joe Soto, you'll see one of my videos on there. You can search it, called Why You Should Never Email Your Client a Proposal. And I won't get into it as much here, but don't do it. Present the proposal to them, and your closing ratio will go through the roof, okay? And I talk to too many people that they email proposals, and they go out into the dark, and they never see them come back. People don't respond, they don't reply. I talked to one guy a couple weeks ago. He says, I have like 6 proposals out. I said, what does that mean? He said, I have 6 proposals I've emailed out. I haven't heard back yet, but I'm hoping that one of them comes through. I said, what? Call every single one of them and schedule a meeting to review the proposal and tell them you have a couple of extra ideas you want to share with them in addition to what you've already proposed. That'll get you the meeting, and then you close them in person. It's much harder to tell people no in person and on the phone than it is through an email. So what's the real secret formula for what you should charge? The answer is It's based entirely, I'll give it to you. The secret formula for how you should charge and how you should set your fees for your services depends entirely on your ability to sell it. Now, that isn't what you wanted to hear. Hey, Joe, just give me the actual fee. That's not how it works. I'm going to give you some fee ranges in a minute. But the true secret formula for pricing, for charging your services, for setting your fees, depends on your ability to sell it. It's the number one thing that you want to learn and you want to hone is your sales ability and your sales skills. That's why I focus so much energy and time on it. That's why I talk so much about sales in my own courses, because I want people to understand that the number one skill that they have to have is the ability to get a client to say, yes, I'm in. And you secure retainer-based clients, consulting or for digital marketing services, and you have an opportunity to do that, but you have to be able to sell it. The more skill you have in sales and marketing, the more you can charge for whatever it is you want to sell. True story. Your fee depends on your selling and marketing skills. Keep in mind, you don't want to raise prices just to make more money, okay? But to be able to provide more value for your client. Keep this in mind. If I charge a client $10,000, how much work, let's say for a one-day strategy session, which by the way, we do and we can charge, and we charge that fee. How much effort and work do you think I'll put in for that client? A lot. I'll give it my absolute best. I want to make sure they walk out going, this was awesome. You gave us handouts, Joe. You gave us, and now I'll transcribe the whole meeting. I'll give them the whole day's worth transcribed. I'll pay for the transcription. It's really cheap on Rev. I'll record the day. If they want video, I might charge a little extra, but I'll let them video record the day. But I'll over-deliver. I'll say, listen, I'm going to create a whole roadmap. I'm going to create a blueprint, an outline of all the things we discussed with action items. Like, I'll go the extra mile because they paid a fee where it makes sense for me to give them my time like that. Now, what if a client says, I'll give you $500 to come in and spend a day with us? Like, is that really worth your time for an entire day? And how much extra effort and over and above would you be motivated to do for that fee? Not as much. So charging too little actually hurts you and your clients. I have a YouTube video on that as well on just that topic. But if you want to sell to high-end clients and charge premium fees, you'll need to improve your level of service, right? You need to make sure that you are able to deliver value, okay? And that means buying the books, reading the books on strategy. I remember reading, Right Hook, Jab, Jab, Right Hook by Gary Vaynerchuk. That's actually his best book in terms of strategically how to work with clients. If you want to have a great book on strategy, go buy that book. Why? He gives you case studies of campaign ideas of working with clients. He actually said this on a podcast once where that book has attracted more clients to him than any other book he's written. Why? Because people read that book and they go, wow, I need to hire an agency to help me execute on these strategies and campaigns that are outlined in that book. You could take similar campaigns and strategies that are in that book and customize them as ideas, the stimulant ideas that you could have for your clients. Now you add a ton of value to them. That's a way to do it, is by doing that and also obviously getting courses like this. If you're resisting this formula, if you're going, wait a minute, do I charge 500 or 10,000? But if you're struggling with, higher fees, if you hear 10,000 for a day and you're like, wow, that sounds way too high. Maybe you're brand new. Maybe you're in your young 20s, for example, and you're not that experienced yet, and you're like, Joe, I don't even think I can get $1,000 for a day of my time. My answer would be, your problem isn't your inexperience. Your problem is your mental block about money inside your head. The bottom line is, I know 16-year-olds that charge thousands of dollars a day because they're so good at what they do and what they can actually show a company and a business to do, and so can you. It does not take that much to be able to know a little bit more than a business to be able to help them. You might have to niche and find certain areas inside your consulting where you can become more of an expert in. You can be an expert in SEO and not ever have to touch a computer because there's tons of books out there on SEO. You can become an expert on Facebook by reading some really good books on Facebook and understanding strategy and not getting bogged down with the technical aspect, because Facebook keeps changing their user interface all the time. Let people that you outsource to, or a team that you outsource to, or an agency that you outsource to handle that work. But you want to understand the strategy behind it. That's more important. People who understand strategy and who have ideas, people who have campaign ideas because you've researched different campaign ideas or different case studies, Go on to Google and type in Facebook case study for whatever niche. Type in like 10 niches and type in Facebook case study or YouTube case study or video marketing case study. And start getting ideas and campaigns. That way you can share that with clients. You can meet with a client and be like, listen, I ran across a couple of case studies on this. Or recently, one of the case studies I'd love for you to get familiar with is one where this company did this, and they did that, and they did this, and it worked out, and this was the results. And your clients will be like, wow, that's amazing. We could be doing that too. And guess who relayed the information to them? You did. And so you're the valuable, trusted advisor. That's how this works. I think people think this is more complicated than that. They have to go to, there's no college needed here. This is just knowing to be resourceful, okay? So you can charge what you're worth. I believe you could charge on the low end $50 and on the high end, maybe $1,000 for a really good social media or website SEO online marketing audit. I have a lesson that you can access right here in this program on how to analyze somebody's website, SEO, keywords, social media, and so on. There's lots of tools for it. I give you all the tools and all the resources. But you can charge for that. You can actually say, I'll do an initial report for you for free, and if you like what I suggest in some of those initial recommendations, you're going to really love what my full recommended report would look like that your team could just be off and running with. I can give you guys something that over the next year you guys could be calendaring out and executing on throughout the next year that could genuinely grow your business by 10% or more. Now keep in mind, to a business doing millions of dollars, 10% is a big lift, okay? And you can say, and I can advise your team over the course of the year on a monthly basis for a fee of, say, for example, $1,000. I'll come in each month, work with your team for a few hours, making sure they're on the right track. They can email me and I can review and evaluate, and you can charge retainer-based services for that. You can charge anywhere between $2,500 and $20,000 typically for a day worth of consulting. Meaning if you're going to spend like 6 to 8 hours with somebody's team or with a person, charge accordingly. If you charge less than $2,500, they're not going to take you serious. Typically, less than $5,000 sends a message that you're probably not the expert, and you want to position yourself as an expert that can help them in their business. And if you struggle with, wow, how can I ask for $5,000? I'm too new. I'm new at this. I don't have a lot of experience. Again, that's money block that you have inside your head. Go read the book Psycho-Cybernetics to get your head right, okay? Or the book Inner Size. Maxwell Maltz wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics. It's one of the best books in personal development you could ever read about getting your mind right. There's a lot of good books around this aspect, but at the end of the day, you got to believe in yourself and create a self-worth and a self-image where you go, I am flipping worth being spent, having some money spent on. And I tell people, listen, I'm not going to do all the work for you, but I'm going to give you the roadmap, the plan, that if you act on it, is going to help your business. If you guys would like me to kind of help you document that and give that map to your team or to an external team that can execute on it for your business, I have a very nominal fee for that. It's $5,000 to spend a whole day with you, and here's what you're going to get as a return. You're going to get transcriptions and a video recording of the day that we spend together. I'm going to give you a roadmap and a plan outlining everything that we could do for you based on that meeting. Now keep in mind, some of you go, well, what's the plan, Joe? What do I do? You don't know the plan until you meet with them and talk about what their needs are and talk about what direction they want to go, what goals they want, what do they want trying to achieve. And let's talk about how we can get there. And what kind of content are you open to doing? Are you open to doing video? Are you open to doing Facebook Live and YouTube Lives? You don't even have a YouTube channel? Let's talk about what it would take to get a YouTube channel up and running and optimized, and we'll have an agency optimize that for you, and here's what they'll charge for that. And you're acting as that consultant, that middleman. I hope this is valuable to you and you understand that this is real. And there is businesses that desperately need your help out there. I think one of the big ahas for me when I got started in consulting, in marketing consulting, and sales consulting, and in digital consulting was when I realized what little entrepreneurs and business owners actually know about any of the things I was advising them on. They're so focused, if they own a med spa, or they're a roofing contractor, or they're a lawyer, an attorney, or they're a dentist, or they're a pool contractor for swimming pools. Guess what they're spending their time on? Their own business. They're so immersed in their stuff. They don't have time to think about all the stuff they hear in little bits and pieces that they should be doing. And when you come in and make it simple for them to understand, it's valuable to them. And they're used to understanding there's a fee attached to great advice, and people who can help them execute on a plan accordingly. So charge appropriately for it. A monthly retainer should be $1,000 or more, minimum, and sometimes a lot more than that, okay? But if you're just getting started out, you might charge for $200, $300, $500 for, a couple hours of your time where you can sit down and help instruct. You could do a training for a company. Go in and present and say, I'm going to do a full training on just how to use LinkedIn to generate leads for your business. I've done that. And had organizations like the Yankees show up. And they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea how to use LinkedIn like this. And so they're with the Yankees. Like, you can do it. And you can charge for that. Minimum $2,500 on up for the day. Okay? So I want to ask you, what steps can you take to set your fees or raise your fees? And are you providing value to your clients, and have you sat down and wrote that stuff out? Like, what value am I providing to the clients? I give you several things you can do that's valuable in a lot of these lessons here inside this digital marketing consulting program, and I'm excited to see you implement this. So charge what you're worth. Don't be scared of it. And honestly, sometimes it's a coin flip. I think I'll charge this client $1,000. I think I'll charge the client $5,000. And a lot of times I'm like, I think I could have charged more, or dang, I think I probably should have went less because I lost that client. That's going to happen. But you don't know it until you try it, and just set a fee and run with it. Don't get hung up on it. Go get them.